If you're interested in language learning or in the effect of smartphones and social media upon language learning and communication, I have an interesting article to share with you today. This was an article that I saw about a week ago. It was on CNN. It's entitled "Cell Phone Use Affects Parent-Child Interactions Even When Adults Aren't Online." So basically, it was sharing some research that indicates even when parents put the phones down and they're not using their social media anymore, their communication with their children continues to be negatively impacted. And basically what they found was parents who use their smartphones more tend to talk less with their children when they have put their phones away. Pretty scary stuff, no? So if you're interested to learn more about this article and this research, I'm going to put a link in the description of this YouTube video. But especially if you're interested in language learning, there was a little tidbit in here that I think is most fascinating, and it comes from an expert named Chris Perry, who is the Executive Director of Children and Screens, Institute of Digital Media and Child Development, which is a nonprofit to help kids lead healthy digital lives. There's a quote from Perry in here, and it says, "Learning language is a major feature of optimal child development, and it's dependent on children expressing and receiving language from birth through age 18. She goes on, "Greater exposure to language tends to improve kids' brain development, academic outcomes, communication skills, and language." So, if you're interested in language learning, if you're interested in communication, if you're interested in raising children well or teaching students well, I think this is an issue that you have to pay attention to. We all know that being on the phones all the time is really detrimental to our relationships and to our communications. But the thing that gave me a wake-up call in this article is how even when we put the phones away, in an indirect way, they're continuing to affect our relationships and our communication styles. I think research on smartphone addiction, social media addiction, it is only now starting to catch up to us in terms of the research is becoming more robust, and we're starting to see more and more states, more and more countries start to put bans on these things, especially in schools. But now I think what we might begin to see is more and more research start to catch up with how it affects us, how it continues to affect us when we're not even using it, when we think we've put the phones down and now we're free of it, and now we can be, better, more present for our family members, we're still continuing to be negatively impacted by it. And I wonder why that is. I would be interested to see some research on why that is. One theory that pops into my mind is, well, maybe two ideas. One is the more that you spend online on social media, the more you're not practicing the art of communication. Like you're kind of making yourself out of practice with it the more and more you're being online. Good communication, it requires active practice day by day. And another thing I think could be a reason is that when you're spending so much time online, you tend to think about those interactions even when you're not online. You might be thinking about, has that person replied to me? Oh, what about that notification? What about that post? What about that update? What am I missing on my feed? And you're thinking about that even when you don't have the phone in your hand, if you know what I mean. So you're kind of thinking about that stuff in the back of your mind, even though those people are around you now and you really ought to be communicating with them, right? And forgetting about that, but it's hard to forget about that. It's hard to turn off that mind that has been stirred up by social media. So I hope this video can help you. I hope it draws your attention to this great article. I thought it was really a good wake-up call for me. Again, link to that article in this description. I hope your communication with your family and friends, children and students can become better. We all need to be more aware of this and develop good tools and strategies to deal with these new problems brought about by the smartphones and social media. Hope to see you back here in the next one. Bye-bye for now.